Hi everyone, this is Shrink Purewall. As you can see here, I've got some new updates here, and it is the notice of the new federal legislation prohibiting the purchase of residential property by non-Canadians. Okay, what's this law? We got this on December 14th, and I wanted to give you guys the same update we're getting live. We knew about this. I've had two buyers buy before year end, because as long as your contract goes firm before December 31st and you are a non-Canadian, you can buy still. What people don't realize is this is in effect for 2 years. One of my clients did look at exceptions in case they missed the December deadline, if they could still buy within the 2 years. And some of the exceptions are if you do a master's degree in environmental studies and all these other pressures, which they were like, listen, we're older, we don't want to go through that. Why don't we just try our best? And we lucked out and we got the property. So congratulations to them. So happy for you. And for those of you, there's always a way, there's always a hope, or there's always patience involved. I always believe everything has a blessing behind it, but information will help you always make the right decision. So let's get down to it. December 14th here. To the real estate license, real estate development industry, let's get reading. The purpose of this advisory is to inform regulated entities of the federal government's newly enacted Prohibition on the Purchase of Residential Property by Non-Canadians Act. And it's going to be enforced January 1st, 2023. Overview of changes. The Act prohibits individuals who are not Canadian citizens or permanent residents of Canada, collectively known as non-Canadians. So if you're a permanent resident and you've got a passport for China, you are considered to be a Canadian. Non-Canadian means you're not Canadian citizen and you don't permanently reside here. You cannot purchase residential property in Canada for a period of 2 years. The prohibition also applies to corporations that are incorporated in Canada or are controlled by non-Canadians. So some may say, well, what if I set up a company and the company is a local entity? Still, it does not apply. As long as the shareholder is non-Canadian, the exception does not apply. While the Act does not directly impact the provision of real estate services or mortgage lending, it does introduce restriction to future agreements of purchase and sale of residential property that regulated entities should be aware of. Now, the fines are quite low in my opinion. So if you don't want to buy a property, I wonder if, okay, let's get to it. You're going to see what the fines are. But from what I'd read is if you don't comply, the fine is $10,000. So what about the 20% tax? Has that been removed? So if I just don't comply, I just pay 10,000 and I avoid the 20% tax. So what I want to know is, be more clear of, in the event that I'm a foreigner and I buy afterwards and someone allows me to buy afterwards, do they just pay the $10,000 fine and I forgo the 20% foreign buyer tax? Because that's a better deal than what I'm getting right now. And also right now, that one buyer of mine who did buy, who's a foreign buyer, bought in an area where there's no foreign buyer tax. So they didn't pay the 20%. They're close to Victoria. And it was just win-win-win. So I'm so happy for them. So contact me for more details. We still have 15 days to go and you can buy. So let's not forget that. So what does the Act say? It says it prohibits non-Canadians from directly or indirectly purchasing residential properties in Canada for a period of 2 years, which includes purchases made through corporations, trusts, or other legal entities. Applies to residential property, which includes detached homes or similar buildings of 1-3 dwellings, as well as part buildings such as semi-detached houses, strata units, or similar premises. So they're saying, if you're going to buy an apartment block, does it apply? If you're going to buy a commercial building, does it apply? So they're kind of drawing the line to residential and lower density residential mostly. Establishes penalties for non-compliance applicable to non-Canadians, as well as any person or entity knowingly assisting a non-Canadian. So not only does the lawyer get in trouble if he does not comply, but so does the person who bought it as well. It establishes that a contravention of the prohibition could result in court-ordered sale of the residential property. Ooh. So that answers my question, is if you don't comply, they may make you sell the property because you're not allowed to own it, which could result in the non-Canadian receiving no more than the purchase price paid for the property. And sets out exemptions for certain cases of people such as refugees, individuals who purchase residential properties with their spouse or common law partner, provided, so you best to find yourself a Canadian if you want to buy a property, because maybe that's your way into the market here, because it says if you have a spouse or common law partner, provided the spouse or common law partner is eligible to purchase residential property, temporary residents in Canada who satisfy the prescribed conditions in the regulations and other classes of persons set out in the regulations. So it tells you who's exempt. And for those regulated entities, if you don't follow, there's a $10,000 fine. If you want additional information, I really encourage you to Google the Prohibition on the Purchase of Residential Property by Non-Canadians Act. And the Department of Finance of Canada's news release, you can look that up. And also Canada's Mortgage and Housing Corporation, CMHC, what they released as well. So these are all good resources, good information. So basically if you buy after December and you're not supposed to, and the person who helped you buy the house will get a $10,000 fine, and you'll be forced through court to sell your property and probably get a fine too. So it's better, guys. You got 15 days. Let's help you buy a home. There is hope. We can do it. We hustle. I'm quick. I'm on it. So let's get in touch. Cheers, guys. Be safe, be well, and happy festive season. Big hugs.